Hey everybody, and welcome to Read, Watch, Play. This is the show where usually we talk about what we read in comics, what we watched in superhero movies and television, and what we played in board games. However, this week we have a very special show for you. Cliff and I and our producer Joe went to New York Comic-Con 2017. This past weekend, we got a bunch of interviews, including interviews with the entire cast of The Tick. So excited, so awesome. Cliff did most of the interviewing, I did most of the camera work, so you're going to get to see Cliff talk to some really awesome people and comic book creators, artists, and regular artists as well that Cliff knows at these conventions. So sit back, relax, and check out what we saw.
Hi, and welcome back to Read, Watch, Play. I'm your co-host, Clifford Parmenter, and with me, you've heard me talk about this man a lot from Justice League of America, Supergirl, and Batman the Shadow. It is writer Steve Orlando. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man.
It's always a pleasure to see you.
It is.
We don't go way back, but we go back to Midnighter #1. Now that's for sure.
That's a long year and a half.
It's a long year and a half. Yes. Actually, it's more like 2 years by now.
You could be right.
Because there was a New York Special Edition, then the second. No, it was second New York Special Edition. Then they gave up on New York Special Edition, which was a nightmare for me.
Yeah, it was really sad.
And now here we are for New York Comic Con again.
I love that show, actually.
It's such a great show. Like, they totally need to do it. It breaks my heart. So, what can you tell us about your current projects?
Well, you mentioned Batman Shadow. This week, actually, our sequel to it, The Shadow Batman, came out from Dynamite, which I'm super, super excited about. If you're at New York Comic Con, Giovanni Timpano, who drew it, is here from Italy. So it's a pretty rare chance.
He is an artist alley.
Yes. He is an artist alley. And he doesn't live in America, so it's a good time to meet him. He's got all the pages for sale. He's fantastic. And as well, literally minutes ago, my next book for DC Comics was announced. It's called The Unexpected. And it's going to be part of DC's New Age of Heroes starting the end of this year in December. In that book, in that line, you've got new books by Jim Lee and James Tynion. You've got new books by Dan Abnett and John Romita Jr. You've got books by Tony Daniel and Robert Venditti. And now you've got The Unexpected by me and Ryan Sook.
I love Ryan Sook. This is awesome.
It's going to be fantastic. Queer, inclusive, racially diverse, and just like new takes on Neon the Unknown, new character named The Ascendant, new takes on Viking Prince, and the last one, and Firebrand, which I'm super excited about as well.
So, is it still like World War II Firebrand?
Well, these are all brand new, so sort of in the spirit of when in the 1960s when we had new characters taking on these names. We're taking lesser known, at least for people that are not like me and you, lesser known characters, and taking those names, giving them new identities, new faces. The whole idea of bringing brand new characters in the DC universe.
I'm sure I'm one of the very few people who knows who Firebrand and Neon the Unknown are, but it sounds awesome. I'm super excited. It is always a pleasure to see you. Yeah, I can't wait for Albany. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Remember, go pick up Shadow the Batman, and if you haven't already, go to your comic book store and pick up Batman the Shadow. Thank you again, and join us again later. And welcome back to Read, Watch, Play. We've been all over New York Comic Con today, Thursday, the first day of the con. And if you know Deadpool, you must know the name Reilly Brown, who's with us here today, who's worked on that character so much, and we look forward to more of that. And of course, new projects that he's going to be working on. Reilly, thank you for joining us. So tell us, what do you have coming up next?
Currently, I'm working on a new project with Fabian Nicieza, the creator of Deadpool. And it's called Outrage. It's about, how when someone says something online and you wish you could just reach across the internet and smack them upside the head?
Every day.
Yeah, so it's a character who can do that. And so that's what the story is about, and how, he uses that for what he thinks is good and how that gets him into trouble here and there, and for better or worse, wacky antics ensue.
Okay. And what month is that coming out?
We don't have a release date set yet, but it's going to be on Webtoon.
Okay.
Webtoon.
All right.
We're repping them right there. It's going to be for free online. It's going to be weekly.
All right,
So
awesome.
Yeah, we'll have a release date set sometime soon. Stand tuned for an announcement about that.
And of course, you can follow Reilly at Reilly_Brown on Twitter, ReillyBrown.tumblr.com, and ReillyBrownArt.com for more of his work. I want to ask you, what is one of your favorite Deadpool moments that you worked on?
One of my favorite was a bit that I did with Fabian. We did a story called Split Second, and Cable and Deadpool were trying to travel through time to prevent this kid from being killed. And so they kept they'd rewind time to go to the past to save the kid. But every time they did it, Deadpool would accidentally kill somebody else. So they had to rewind time again. And every time it got worse and worse and worse. And it was hilarious. That's my
poor
favorite.
Deadpool, even when he's trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any more Deadpool work that's currently coming out?
Not at the moment. I think my last couple covers I've done for them have already come out, so I don't know what's on the horizon, but I don't know. I'll talk to those guys all the time, so you never know.
I'll rally the troops to make sure we get more Reilly Brown on Deadpool.
Right to Marvel, it really does make a difference. They keep hearing, get Reilly drawing it.
We're going to keep it up. We're going to keep it up. Okay, well, thank you so much for your time. Again, at Reilly_Brown on Twitter, and we're coming to you from New York Comic Con. Stay tuned for more. Hi, I'm with Peter, the Tick himself from Amazon Prime's Tick series. So go and renew your subscriptions or get an annual subscription right away. Peter, it's a pleasure to have you here. I'm a big fan. And so, big fan of the hugs with you and Arthur, by the way. That was awesome. So what can you tell us about the Tick's development for the second half of season 1?
Not much, really, disappointingly. Well, I can tell you that he starts to be aware of himself and where he came from. Really starts to trouble him, and it's the first, one of he's nigh invulnerable, and that kind of applies to his. I was going to say his ego, but he doesn't really have an ego. How can I describe it? His sense of self-security, like how comfortable he feels being himself. He's never questioned it before, and then when he questions it and thinks about it a little bit more, that's when his problems begin. I think that's kind of what happens for a lot of people when they hit a certain age. Some people it's when they're in their teens. Some people it's they're in their 40s or whatever. They think, who am I? How did I get here? This is not my beautiful house.
I've had those days, and yes, when you hit 40. So you have an amazing chemistry with Griffin. So what is it like working together as Tick and Arthur?
Yeah, we hit it off straight away, and it's just strengthened every, I don't know, it's a real kind of cosmic, sort of a fate thing, a fate and destiny, big themes of the show, and I do believe that, I honestly believe that has had a lot to do with this. It's with me and Griffin, we realized we've got some very uncanny common interests, and especially, I'm quite a bit. I'm like 15 years older than Griffin, but we've got a lot of the same frames of reference. I think when he was a kid, his parents wouldn't allow him to watch contemporary stuff like cartoons that were on Nickelodeon, or his parents would only allow him to watch stuff that his parents watched when they were kids, which would have been kind of what I would have watched. So, yeah, we've got a lot in common, He's also so funny, he's such a brilliant actor, and yeah, we love each other.
That's fantastic, and it's always wonderful to hear, especially when it's such an enjoyable viewing experience. So you were mentioning Destiny, of course, that's the theme of the show. Do you feel this is not your first turn in something superhero related? You were in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, so you feel that maybe that is like being a little bit of a calling?
Yes, I suppose so. I mean, I've always wanted to play, part of me has always wanted to play a superhero. I imagine that's true of most actors and most people. It's like, wow, that looks cool to play a superhero. It's not as cool as it looks.
I'm sure it's a lot of hard work to pull that off.
Yeah,
and
is.
You do get knocked out of a lot of windows and through a lot of walls.
Yeah. Well, for a lot of that stuff, my stunt double, Mike Pyle, who is he's a UFC fighter, and he is another real buddy on this show for me. He's a great guy, So he does a lot of that stuff, and we're the only two people who know how crazy uncomfortable it is to be in that suit.
That was going to be my next question. How long does it usually take to even get in the suit?
It doesn't take that long. Probably about less than an hour. Less than an hour. But once you're in, you're kind of locked in for a bit, and after 5 minutes, you're just like, oh my God, get me out of this fucking suffocating upright sarcophagus.
I just being friends with enough cosplayers, they have enough trouble. I imagine what it's like for you, especially if you have a 12 or 14-hour day of shooting.
I wouldn't want to play in this cause.
We're here with Griffin Newman from The Tick, who plays Arthur. If you haven't seen it, you should renew that Amazon Prime subscription right away. And thank you for being here. So I heard you mention earlier that you have actually hit the floor. So for you, what do you what's the most fun thing for Comic-Con for yourself?
In general, or here specifically?
Here specifically this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm biased, but I think the Danger Boat we have on there, we have this full-scale replica of Danger Boat that's on the con floor.
There.
You can go inside and interact with it. And on the show, Danger Boat, the inside's a set we have, but the outside's all CGI. So this is the first time that we're actually getting to see a real physical Danger Boat, which is really, really cool. And just watching, you can just kind of plant yourself in any corner of the convention floor and watching all the different cosplay, it's it never stops being entertaining and impressive to see the things that people build.
And Danger Boat is very impressive. I did a little interview with him on Thursday.
Very charismatic and very talkative, yeah.
What can you share with us that would be one of your favorite moments from season 2 as Arthur on The Tick?
Well, so the 6 episodes we have coming out in February are still part of season 1. We call it season 1B, because I think when you see it, you'll see it's all sort of one arc of the season. But I think, when we get to the second half of the season, Arthur has kind of accepted his destiny at this point. He's fighting it a lot less, so you get to see him own his heroism a little more. He's still overwhelmed. He's still terrified by everything going around him, but he knows he's doing the right thing. There's a lot more Danger Boat.
Okay.
There's a lot of interesting stuff between Danger Boat and I, which I don't want to tease, but I think any Danger Boat fans will be satisfied. I'm trying to think. I don't want to spoil anything, but people really liked the 2 moments we had in the first half of the season where the Tick and I hug. And we have 2 more hugs in the second half of the season, one of which I think is the best hug the whole season. So for any hug fans out there, you got some primo hugs coming up.
That's good. I am a hugger myself, so it's really wonderful. So as far as once the series got picked up by Amazon, so what was the process for you for getting full thrusted into the role?
Yeah, it was weird because I did so much preparation going into the pilot. I had I think about 3 months, maybe even 4 months between when I started auditioning and when we actually started filming the show. So I had a lot of time there to kind of dig into all the different corners of the Tick mythology and just store everything in my brain and work on what I wanted to do with the character, and then using the pilot to test out a lot of that. And then the thing that's cool about the Amazon system is you have that pilot out there and you get actual feedback from real people. So going into the series, I felt like I had a sense of what people liked, what people had issues with, what I wanted to focus on more and less. So at that point, like, the preparation for going full thrust was just to sort of build a confidence in myself to keep doing what I'd been doing, because I did so much obsessive work leading into the pilot that then it was just trying to let myself calm down and trust that I knew what I was doing. Yeah.
Sure. All day. I followed your Twitter this morning. I don't know what took me so long. Last week
I need to get better at my Twitter. I still haven't found my Twitter voice. I'm working on it.
I haven't found that Twitter voice either. So of course this is Yara Martinez.
Hi.
She plays.
We're looking here, right?
Okay. She plays Miss Lint on Amazon Prime's The Tick. So please get that annual subscription or do the monthly subscription. And you're also on Jane the Virgin.
I am. I'm so lucky.
So my first question is going to be a little bit of both. You are playing two very different villains.
Yeah.
You have one that's driven and really finding herself on the Tick, and you have the other one who's becoming a villain because no one trusts her judgment.
I know.
And, so how do you...
She's being villainized, right? Like, life
She is.
circumstances have led Luisa to all of a sudden be kind of the villain of the show.
Yeah, no, when Luisa told her brother off and she's just like...
And her heart turned black. My heart broke when I read that. I was upset. I was like, I don't want Luisa to lose her innocence and her
I still
optimism.
believe.
Me too. I still believe too. But that was actually interesting because I was shooting The Tick here in New York, and they had to squeeze, Jane the Virgin had to squeeze my shooting days into 2 days. So I had to take a red eye shoot and then come back and shoot this. And usually I can do Luisa no problem. I'm so used to her. I'm used to her optimism, and I can just click into it. But since I was playing a villain here, and it was the first time that you see Luisa as a villain, I was doing scenes with Justin, who plays my brother, and he was like, yo, your face is twitching. I think you're bringing Miss Lint into this. I had to really figure out two different types of evils to play. That was challenging.
Well, you did an amazing job, and that was really why I had that question. I dragged my mother into watching Jane the Virgin with me,
awesome.
and I'm like, she's Puerto Rican, Mom. You gotta watch it. Let's go. And she already loved Jaime from
Jaime's amazing.
from all the telenovelas.
Yeah.
So it was just.
Are you Puerto Rican?
Yes.
Boricua.
Yes, my mom is from Santurce.
Do you have family there? How is everyone?
Everyone's fine.
Okay.
My aunt moved here last month.
Oh,
And she has tenants, and that home is gone now. So
From where? Where is it?
So that's in Aguadilla. So yes, if you can do anything about helping with relief in Puerto Rico, please do.
Voices for Puerto Rico is an organization that Puerto Ricans got together to help.
Okay, absolutely wonderful. Voices for Puerto Rico. That's okay.
I'm Cuba Rican though. I was born in Puerto Rico and my dad lives there, but I'm Cuba Rican.
That's okay. I got Cuban cousins. Right on.
Yay.
And I'm half Canadian too, so go figure.
Oh my God, you have the best of everything.
I like to think that I do. Yeah, you're so wonderful to talk to. So what can you tell us about part B of season
part
1?
B, my gosh. It's I have to refresh my brain. Part B of season 1, you're gonna get to see Miss Lint figure out all these complicated emotions that she's been feeling as to why her life has changed, and now having the terror back and all of that. You get to see her explore what that means to her. And she kind of comes into her own. There's a journey of figuring out who she is and coming into her own. I'm trying not to give stuff away.
Well, I like it because it seems that every character has to have that journey. Dot has to have the journey. Arthur has to have the journey. Tick has to have the journey. And your character, Miss Lint, also has to have the journey. And we're all looking forward to it.
Thank you. Something I think that's really cool is that, I don't know if it's cool, but it's just relatable that these villains and these people in this world there's a loneliness to them, and seeing people deal with it, and seeing a villain be humanized and be lonely and see where sometimes the anger comes from and the confusion was something that I thought was really fun to play.
I told Jackie the scenes that you guys share are amazing. And you're both amazing. Your chemistry, the two of you, your chemistry, Arthur and Tick's chemistry,
I love them.
Dot and Arthur's chemistry.
Yeah.
All of you are amazing at having these pairs. So of course now I'm like desperate that there's going to be like a Miss Lint like forced team up with Dot later on.
I know. I'll be so curious to see if they team up or if like they just face off. That would be bad.
We want it. Please make it happen, Amazon. We're here with Jackie Haley from The Tick, who plays the Terror. Thank you for joining us. So what can you share with us about the Terror in season 2?
Well, you never know what to say, right? You don't want to spoil anything. I mean, one of the things that I know is in the trailer is that he definitely kind of made, in the first half of the season, Janet asked him, "What have you been doing all these years you've been gone?" And he says, "Well, remember how I always told you I wanted to learn how to play drums? Did that." So, the season definitely, during the next half of the season, you'll see the Terror playing the drums in his lair, and it's kind of funny.
You mentioned the character of Janet. So I think you and Yara had excellent chemistry. Like, it's just a fantastic time working together.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, her and I had some really long days. Not every time. Like sometimes we would just have a scene, but there were some days where the whole day were scenes like at her house or somewhere else where it's just like nonstop work. And we definitely really did, I think, have a cool chemistry. Me being her mentor, and the fact that she used to be my right hand, and so there's a lot of history and a lot of dynamics and good writing, and her and I just get along great, and I think we both really just enjoyed performing those scenes together.
Well, absolutely, because they were phenomenal scenes, especially in episode 6. Your character, the Terror, sets her on her path that I'm sure we're going to see more of in the second half of the first season. Hi, we're back, and again, we're still talking Tick for the Amazon Prime exclusive show. So get your annual subscription or renew your monthly. And we're with Valerie, who plays Dot, Arthur's sister, on the show. Thank you for being with us.
You're welcome for having you, yes. Thank you for joining me on my show, yeah.
You are awesome on the show. Your character just goes through her own very powerful arc of overprotective sister to I'm patching up mobsters. You even don't mind. Your character doesn't even mind getting in the face of Overkill. So what exciting things can you share with us about Dot for the second half of season 1?
Oh God, nothing. I'm so terrified to share anything. She goes to really exciting places. She is sort of faced with this dilemma at the end of season 1A about whether or not she wants to get involved in this world. Now that she realizes that Arthur's fantasies are real, and she has the opportunity to do that. And, I personally think that she is the most likely superhero on the show. She's the most capable person to deal with that. So I think what I can tell the fans to look forward to is she has some surprising interactions, and she gets involved with some surprising characters as she moves forward and navigates her way through the superhero world.
Okay, so in the lines of things you can talk about, can you tell me about one of your favorite scenes from the first half of season 1?
Yeah, I mean, I loved, obviously, shooting the roller derby. That was really, really fun. I think everyone was very scared that I was going to hurt myself, and that was going to be the end of that. But I had a great time, and even though I'm, skating in the most basic way possible, just being surrounded by the Gotham girls made me feel like such a badass. And I really loved shooting the pilot because the scene between Dot and Arthur in the car it's unlike anything that I thought we would be allowed to do on a half-hour superhero comedy. It's this really extended scene that's completely about the relationship. It's very intimate. They allowed us as actors to take it to a very dramatic and real place, to give it the space and air that it needed. And I think it was I had an amazing time doing that with Griffin because he's a wonderful, very available actor. But also I think it was so necessary to ground both of them in human stakes and to give a sense of the history between them because it is really long and it is really rocky. And I think you needed that sense of the history in order for everything that happens to have the stakes that it does.
Yeah, it's really wonderful, and you're absolutely right. One of the things I enjoy about the show is Dot and Arthur's relationship has a very natural depiction of mental health, which I think is amazing for a show that is a comedy. It really brings the show to the level of dramedy, which is just really incredible. Is there anything? Well, these are so hard because it's like, what can you talk about?
Spoilers are so hard on this one.
Are there? What was the most if you can talk about it? What was the most demanding thing you've had to film so far for season 1?
Oh, there are a couple of episodes season 1B counts as season 1,
yes,
right?
Absolutely.
We can do that. That we filmed pretty much together because the sense of the timeline in the show is really urgent. You know, things are happening one after another. There's not weeks and even really days in between episodes. It's all back to back. It picks up exactly where you left off. So there were several weeks spent doing some action on some very uneven ground, and I had like my Jurassic World high-heeled boots on. Originally, I think I was supposed to be in like an actual pump, and even Ben Edlund looked at me and he was like, "Oh no, she needs action shoes." So I got boots, but they still had like a 4-inch heel. So that was the hardest thing for me, was doing that for days. But you know, it's small potatoes compared to what the guys are doing in those suits on this show.
We were talking to Peter about the suits and being trapped in there for hours at a time.
Very open about that experience, yeah.
You guys seem to have a wonderful chemistry on the show. You have this just amazing rapport with Griffin, and that comes across on screen. So do you really just have a great time together when you're shooting together?
I have never experienced a cast that's like this, where we really do all get along and like each other, and we look forward to seeing each other again. And Griffin and I in particular, we met during the sort of the casting process and did a chemistry read together, and for whatever reason we just fell into a really, really easy chemistry. And I know part of that is probably that Griffin has a natural energy that makes you want to take care of him. So it wasn't a stretch for me, but I've had the most wonderful time with everyone. I mean, everyone's hysterical, but they also take the characters and the work very, very seriously. Everyone goes to those places in a committed way emotionally and supports each other. You know, I don't have the same comedy background that everybody else does here, and I always feel very supported and helped in that area. But it is just natural. We all just get along. Yeah.
What you're doing. All right, we're here with Michael, who plays Ramses on Amazon Prime's The Tick. So again, I've been saying, get your annual membership or renew, because the series is awesome. Thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.
So we're going to get to see part B of season 1. And last time we saw your character, it didn't look so good for him. Is there anything you can actually share about what we're going to see from Ramses in part B?
I guess all I can say is that Ramses may seem to be gone, but he's certainly not forgotten. And we'll just have to see what the future holds for. I mean, so far I'm only Ramses 4, so anything could happen.
I wonder if there's going to be like a false Egyptian reincarnation theme going on.
Certainly seems primed for it, anyway.
The show really is great. Everybody has such amazing chemistry. I keep telling everyone else how all the pairings are incredible, and you know, you have this amazing chemistry with Yara. There's a constant tension leading right up onto the cliffhanger we got for the first half of season 1. So, like, what can you talk to us about with working with the cast?
Well, it has been such a delightful company to get to work with, and it's funny because when you work on a TV show, you may not cross paths with a lot of the other actors in the show because you kind of only spend the time with the people that you're in scenes with, and my scenes were largely with Yara for a long time, so we got to get to know each other well and really enjoy working together a lot at first. But there were other people who I may have met in the makeup trailer, but that was about as much as I got to hang out with them until we do things like Comic-Cons, where we get to all hang out as a company together for, you know, hours on end. And that was when I found out just what a really special bunch the whole group is. You know, it's the really funny people, really, you know, kind, great people, and I think it's, you know, it's partly they chose this group of people because they were the kinds of people to tell the story the way that they wanted to tell it. And I think it's also the material just kind of brings that out in everybody, and it brings it out in the fans and the people who come to talk to us about it, because it's weird. It's an oddly feel-good kind of series, for all of the traditional superhero stuff and some of the dark and violent things that happen in it. There's a weird kind of optimism and hopefulness about it and sweetness about it that just makes coming to work and working with this bunch of people fantastic.
I mean, I absolutely agree. The show tackles so many concepts. It tackles loneliness. It tackles mental illness. It tackles the brother-sister dynamic relationship.
Yeah.
It's so broad, on top of the fact that, like, this is really just a fun comic book thing that's going on at the same time.
Yeah.
And you just all do such an incredible job. That's really amazing. And so, getting back to the character of Ramses, he seemed really obsessed with branding. So where do you...
What was your first clue? Was it the...
Where is he coming from with that? Like, is he really like a supervillain, or is he a supervillain who wants to be a celebrity?
I think he's a supervillain who wants to be a celebrity, and who maybe is secretly worried that he's not even that super a villain. I think Ramses is compensating for a lot of insecurities with the branding thing, which I think, as we can look in our culture, we can see lots of examples of that sort of thing.
Too many?
Not to name any names, but I think, he definitely feels like, because he doesn't fly, he doesn't have super strength, he doesn't have necessarily, a brilliant scientific mind, but what he does have is this knack for branding and for self-promotion. So he's going to work it.
Welcome back to New York Comic Con, and we're with Brendan, who plays Superior on the Tick. And yes, we want to hear your Kevin impression.
Oh, okay. There's Kevin Sussman. Oh my God, what the hell am I doing here? Oh my God, I gotta go home and walk the dogs, and I gotta get, oh my God, I have acid reflux. That's Kevin Sussman. Kevin Sussman.
Not too far off from Stewart's all the time.
Yeah.
Anyhow, it's a pleasure to have you here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
And so first of all, what's it like playing this very iconic Superman-esque type character on the Tick?
It's a fun exercise for someone who is used to playing. I'm used to playing a certain kind of archetype, and it's not the famous archetype, really. It's mostly I play like some sort of love interest, or I play somebody who's breaking up a couple, or something like that. So to play somebody who is just this revered, supposedly benevolent person who is the most famous person on earth, who just is there to save people's lives, that just required a shift in my approach to how I perform and how I read these scripts and how I act that. So I just started thinking in terms of who are the most revered and famous people that I can think of, and I came up with astronauts, quarterbacks, movie stars, all mixed up into one batch, and that's kind of where I started. So the shorter answer to your question is it's hard.
Yeah, well, we've been hearing that a lot, but you guys channeled all that energy and all that work into a fantastic performance. You said supposedly benevolent, and we see some headaches for Superior, and it's very troublesome for viewers. So Superior going to be going down a darker road in the second half of season 1.
I can't say for sure. I mean, I know, but I can't tell you. But I'm glad you noticed that, and it is definitely something that you should be concerned about. I think that you should be very concerned about that. I would be.
I think I'd be. I'm concerned about my own migraines as it is.
Yeah.
So what can you tell us from all of season 1 was a favorite moment you had on set?
My favorite moment for me personally was getting wired up to do the green screen flying stuff, because I had never done that. So anytime I'm in a situation where I can do a new thing and learn something and try to get good at it, is always going to be one of my favorite things. But that was just usually me alone. Camera, green screen, wires, pretend to fly. But my actual favorite stuff to do is back and forth with other actors, because that's why we do it. And as the show at the second half of season 1 goes along, I got to interact with the other actors, with Peter and Griffin and John Perkis, who you'll see, a lot more, and I really loved that. They're just working with these people makes me better at every facet of the job. You know, I think I'm a better comic now. I think I'm a better comic actor now. I think I understand what I want to do more. So if we get a season 2, there won't be that learning curve. We can all just jump right in. So it's a long answer, I guess.
Oh no. Has he ever hooked up with Miss Lint?
I'm not at liberty to say. You'd have to ask him about it. Although when I bring her up, he does get quite shaky.
I heard she was talking about him.
Did you hear that?
Yes.
He would be very interested to know that.
Is he a big fan of Jane the Virgin?
I don't think he's seen that show, but I am a big fan of Jane the Virgin.
I think Overkill would also be very interested in Jane the Virgin. Hey, and welcome back to Read, Watch, Play. I'm Clifford Parmenter, your co-host, and with me is Terry Huddleston, an artist I go back with, what, to 2005?
Oh my God, don't give me the lion, man. It's back here. It's back in them early 2000 years.
And as you can tell, Terry draws amazing, gorgeous work here. Fantastic characters. We got Borderlands, Naruto, Zelda, Steven Universe, Astro Boy, Thanos, the Avengers. I mean, I think you've covered everything.
I don't know. I'm looking the glass half empty. I look at what I don't have. I need more Game of Thrones, Walking Dead.
Well, so, yeah, I hope you're loading up for Black Panther come February.
Oh yeah, you know it. They're doing black people audits. If you don't, load up on it, they take your black card instantly. So. Yeah.
I'm ready for it. Oh, and A Wrinkle in Time. Oh my God, you need to draw Super Saiyan Oprah.
There you go. That was my book as a kid, man. A Wrinkle in Time. So.
Do you know I had never read it until I heard the announcement of the movie?
That's funny. They made us read it, and then I ended up reading it on my own. It was a good book.
Yeah. You know, when I was also they like everyone else read A Catcher in the Rye. Yeah. I never read Catcher in the Rye, and then I saw the movie Conspiracy Theory, and I'm like, how come I never read Catcher in the Rye?
Catcher in the Rye. Yeah, it was one of those time books. Like if you read it now, you're like, man, this kid needs
an adult,
a headlock or some shit. Yeah. So I get you.
So tell me, what projects are you working on currently?
I'm working on a book. Can't really get into it right now. I'm doing some light coloring for an image book. That'll be coming out soon. I'm always working on products for different companies here and there, t-shirt design, toy design. Then, of course, doing the pinup hack stuff. I say hack, but, hey, it pays the bills.
Well, you do have gorgeous colors, as we can see. Where can everybody find you online?
Terry Huddleston Art. Yeah, just look up Terry Huddleston Art, and you'll go to all the places that have all the things that I do.
Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, the whole shebang. Instagram, of course.
Instagram. I love Instagram. Instagram is great for, curmudgeons like me.
So what shows are you doing next that people can find you out?
The next show I'm going to be doing is a little one-day show in Porter, called Porter County Comic-Con, right in Indiana. Nobody from here is going to be going to that, but then the next time I'll be in this neck of the woods is Rhode Island.
So in November?
Yeah. I'll be in
I hear
Rhode
Christy
Island.
Marsden's going to be there, the granddaughter of the creator of Wonder Woman, so you might want to have your Wonder Woman prints front and center.
I mean, Wonder Woman is huge regardless anyway. Full disclosure, I didn't love the movie. I know, I'm weird.
7 out of 10?
I'll give it a 7 out of 10, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's still acceptable. You still enjoyed the ride.
Like Hollywood kind of went nuts and was like, look, DC made a not bad movie. But I was like, Disney they just released that movie called Moana.
I did love me some Moana. You know,
It's the same story.
honestly, when you hear the main theme from Moana, like, can't you just picture Wonder Woman standing at the edge of Themyscira singing that?
Like, imagine how much balls DC would have to make it into a musical. Like, it'd be huge, but they don't have that kind of like. But Moana, same story, right? Like, I want to leave the island. Parents won't let me. There's evil spreading, and it's gonna come here eventually. Unless
I'm the
I go
daughter
out
of
there.
the leader.
There's a barrier. You know, I gotta hook up with this guy that's gonna get me there. You know, except for Moana had a more feminine ending of like, I'm gonna use my female intuition to figure out what's wrong with the problem. Wonder Woman used a laser penis. I'm just saying, she was like,
It's called a last. Oh, right after the
she
last.
literally blasted him with a giant lightning bolt, which could have been interchangeable with Thor. I'm sorry, that could have been Thor and Loki, and it would have been the same movie.
Well, her father is Zeus, so we can always run with that.
I don't know.
But
I just wanted more chicks in the movie. Like, I don't know if that makes me effeminate. Like, I wanted more chicks fighting other chicks. It was like, oh, World War I. Okay.
I have a feeling. Well, first of all, I have a feeling we're going to see a lot more of that in Justice League.
Give me some Cheetah, man. Give me some Giganta. Like,
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
I'm being
But
impatient.
more importantly, I just want to go over the fact that in Wonder Woman, how fabulous was Etta Candy?
You know, she was great. She was great. She's funny in everything.
She's amazing. I love how it's like only the toughest can wield the sword, and then there's Etta in the freaking alleyway. Like, what's going on? I got the sword. It was so great. Welcome back to Read, Watch, Play. Again, I'm your co-host Clifford Parmenter, and with me Terry's wife Leah Huddleston, who I've also known forever. I love her. She has scared the hell out of me in public while behind shows while I'm eating a sandwich.
Oh, those are the good old days. Those are the days where we were just like, you know, it was just like only a few people, a few vendors, a few booths, and you know, you could tiptoe, you could drink, you could, you know.
Oh, the drinking. Remember when I used to run around and give people beer for Prince?
I do.
And I even got a few head sketches for beer.
Yep. I do remember that. Those are the good old days. It's cool. We're all like family.
Absolutely.
Cliff is one of like our oldest fans. Like I feel like one of like our first fans that just truly appreciated the Terry Huddleston art aesthetic. And
You were there for Sidekick Benny.
Yes. Oh yes, I remember Benny. Oh, the little one, right?
The little one, yes. If we're lucky, we'll run into him this weekend.
I see him randomly in like Ohio or Chicago, maybe, because I think he moved to the
He moved to Florida.
Okay.
So
okay.
he just jump on a train and go
I think
places.
I remember. I do vaguely remember seeing him at like MegaCon or something like that. And I'm like, the little one.
I love it. So see, we go way, way, way back.
Yeah, we go way back.
Okay, so what is this con experience like for you?
Oh, this is an amazing experience for me. Like this is, I feel, even though I'm from Indiana, I feel like this particular show is home base because New York was one of the very first Comic-Cons I've ever attended ever, you know what I mean? So just being at this show in the atmosphere, it's just great. I feel like you can get a wide spread of fandom, so to speak. You got your kind of like old school classic, you know, Marvel DC lovers, but then you got your, you know, anime fans and stuff like that, and then you got like people like me who like the dirty books. So you can go to Image and get your sex criminals and all that good
Chip
stuff.
Zdarsky says sex criminals.
I was stalking him at Rose City Comic Con. I was
That's
kind of
okay.
like,
I would too. Did you get to meet him?
I wanted to, but I walked away. I'm such a dweeb when it comes to celebrities. I'm just like,
he's just a writer. They're human beings.
I know. He's just so cool, though.
It's not like me stalking Chris Evans and his brother Scott.
I know, right? I think the last Philly that I remember you at, were you there with Chris Evans? Not Chris Evans, but who plays Thor? Fine dude.
Chris Hemsworth.
Were you there when he was there?
I was there for that.
And women were,
So
like,
maybe it was
throwing their
2011.
underwear. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, I was too far away, but it was I was insane.
It was like he was the first celebrity I saw in like person, and there was like a light beaming down. I'm like, he is glowing. Thank God they had him play Thor. Yeah. But yeah, otherwise New York is the jam. I love how much the show has grown because it's just so much really cool stuff. I love it.
So you're one of the rare people that I know who was raised by a geek mom.
Yes.
Or nerd mom. Which does she prefer?
Yeah. My name is Leah, but it's spelled like Princess Leia. okay? And I'm born in 82, Star Wars came out in 78, and she's just like, I didn't name you after her. I didn't name you after her. I named you after, you know, this girl I went to school with. I was like, But yeah, she's still a geek. Like, we have to tame it down. She when my daughter was 3, she was watching Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And she's reading her a bedtime story, and she's like, all right, this is it, because I got some Clone. This is the last story, because I got to finish Clone Wars.
That's fantastic. So, any shows you have coming up that you guys are super excited about?
Well, this one is the one I'm super most excited about, and then there is LA Comic-Con. That is at the end of this month. It's Halloween.
Oh, so you guys are pushing it.
Yeah.
And Terry mentioned Rhode Island Comic Con in November.
Rhode Island. Yep. I don't know if I'll personally be able to make it to that one, but that's one of our favorites too.
I just want to remind you, Christy Marston will be there. It's your chance to share some Wonder Woman love.
Okay. You know what? I may have to make some changes then.
Thank you again for talking with us.
Honey.
Station passengers. The Amtrak 1123 westbound regional train number 195.
So that's just some of what we saw at New York Comic Con 2017. Cliff, Joe, and I had a tremendously fun time, very exhausting, and we didn't even get to some of the stuff that we wanted to do because we were so busy. So hopefully next year we'll be doing a live stream every day of the convention, and we'll have some awesome guests lined up for that as well. So keep an eye out for that next year. And as always, I'm Tony Cox. Thank you for watching Read, Watch, Play. We'll see you next week.